Hey guys, I'm Vernon Kid here, back again. How's everybody doing on their end? It's always good to see you guys, and always looking forward to hearing what you guys comments you have to say as well. So what are we here today? What are we here today, do, Chris? Well, this way you can read the title. It's pretty much as promised, guys. Uh, Talk about my experiences, my second time going to New York Comic Con and experience what I experienced, as well as a special message to a certain someone at the end of this video. So this is my second time going to New York Comic Con, and it was a thrill as always. Only went for one day. Once again, sometimes you don't get lucky enough. Hopefully next time, but next year I'll be a little bit more prepared and ready. So once tickets are available, yeah, I'm definitely going more than one day. But this time around, guys, I took my little brother, Oakland 93. Took him his first Comic Con, which was great. But the one thing also, the coolest thing also, guys, was the fact that, yes, I cosplayed this year. Yeah, I hope to cosplay a little better, but this year, yeah, I cosplayed. I cosplayed at Agent 47. It was a lot of fun to do that, to cosplay as a video game character that I do like. I do play the Hitman series. I do like playing as Agent 47, even though, you know, the movies could have been better, but we're not here to talk about the movies. Yeah, so I did cosplay as Agent 47. I had a suit. The suit was mine. I got plenty of black suits. The tie I had to buy. I had to buy the like a real replica red tie. I didn't, because if you look at Agent 47, his tie is not too bright. The red is not too bright. It's not too dark. And I found it on Amazon for only $6. So got that. The gloves I bought off of eBay for $6 as well. And the guns, as you see, I bought those. Once again, those cap guns were like $6 each as well. But they were fun to use. Didn't mind that. As you all know, you can have replicas, but they can't look too real. So I had to find replica handguns that Agent 47 carries that still had the silver S chrome to it, but still looked fake enough that I wouldn't get stopped by security or the police, there, and basically saying, oh, you can't bring this in. So, but I did cosplay. I did have the tattoo, the barcode tat on the back of my, I did buy that for the back of my head. And when I was trying to put it on the morning of that Thursday morning, it would not stick. It was supposed to be like, you put it on, you dab of water on it, and you just pull it off, and the sticker would be on it. And it did not fit. It did not stick. It came right off, and I'm like, yeah, So I was like, oh, well, I'm not going at it. But other than that, everything else was me. Shaved my head, shaved completely clean, no facial hair, and stepped out with all my my goodies and everything like that, things I wanted to get signed, and had just a really good time. Me and my brother, we just, I was more excited for him than me, because I knew what I was going to expect. It was more for him. I was really more into the point of, how's Malcolm going to take this, because he's into pop culture, and he used to read, the books and stuff like that, but it was just more like, okay, I hope he enjoys it as much as I did. And you'll hear what he has to say as well. But yeah, getting there, we had to definitely pick up. I got my tickets a little late, so I had to, when we had to go to the Javits Center and pick them up from there, which was fine. There's no problem with that. Activated them, and that was it. After that, bam, I was off to Artist Alley, as I always do. That is my prime attention when I'm at Comic-Con. I will walk the floors and stuff for a while and try to get into a few panels and everything like that. But other than that, I'm in the artist alley, meeting my favorite artists and favorite writers in the comic industry. And yeah, I was there. Saw Walt Simonson and his wife. Didn't get online to meet them. His line was really long. And I was like, okay, I'll come back and see him. Fabian DeCisa's line was crazy long to see. It went around the corner. But there was my mission here. If I was really Agent 47, yeah, my mission was one objective. Gail Simone. That was my mission. My mission was Gail Simone. And unfortunately, when I found where she was, I had to look back up on her on the the app to see, okay, what booth is she at. And when I saw it, and it was empty, and I took a picture of it and everything, and basically put it on Twitter and put it on Facebook. She's not here, but she had a note that said she's doing a lot of interviews, doing a panel for Wonder Woman and things like that. She'll be back around by 7:15 to 8 o'clock. Bam! So I was like, okay, I know where to go. So other than that, then I just went around to other places and, met some great people. And I got to meet people I've met before, and it was cool to see some people remember me. The first person me and Malcolm went to go meet once was Amy Reeder. Took another picture with Amy Reeder. That was really fun. She somewhat remembered me, but didn't. I showed her the first picture we took together, and then I showed her and we took another picture, and I told her, if you don't know who Amy Reeder is, she is the writer of Rocket Girl, really good series by Image, and she's also writes the fun Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, which is last year she signed my #1 issue of that, along with the whole cast, the whole crew, everybody, the artists, the two Mr. Monteclair, and they all signed it. It was great, and she was just fun. She just had that sparkle in her eye once again. You know what I'm saying? So it was a lot of fun to meet Miss Reeder again, and went about our way. But the one thing also, Malcolm and I definitely, we saw a lot of great cosplayers there. Cosplayers that I posed with and he posed with. There were just so many different cosplayers. There was many that Malcolm had. If you follow my brother on his Facebook account, he posed with there was a woman there dressed up like old school Elektra. Man, her costume was fabulous, and there was a lot of people was just snapping pictures. Or guys, oh, can we take a picture of you? She had the size. She was very much in character. There was so many people, like I said, so many cosplayers. Like I took pictures with. Probably one of my favorites to take a picture with, well, two actually, there was a girl dressed up like Rogue, and guys know I love Rogue. I love me some Rogue. She is my favorite, not just ex-woman. She's one of my favorite women in comics. She's my #1 favorite woman in comics. So we got to see Rogue, and she struck the pose with me. It was great. Probably my next favorite was I posed with this guy who dressed up like one of my favorite Valiant characters, Bloodshot. He had his skin was all white. He had the red circle in his chest. He had the red contacts, slick back black hair. It was all him, and I was so impressed. I was just like, dude, I gotta take a picture with you, please. Let me take a picture with you. There was just some great cosplayers there, just some fun ones. There's just a lot of creativity, a lot of homemade stuff. It did me proud to see that someone was dressed up as the Shadow. That was really fun. Once I saw him, I was like, dude, can I get a pic? And he put the mask back on, and it was great. But from there, guys, I did definitely get to see, you know, I went back to Artist Alley. While after a while, my brother, he was looking for, he wanted to go meet Diamond Dallas Page, you know, former wrestler, Hall of Famer now, DDP Yoga. He wanted to go meet him. And for me, you know, I would have met him too, but it was like, my mission right now was just all about Gail. It was all about Gail. And I wanted to stay in Artist Alley. So while I was there, stayed in Artist Alley while he went around looking for Diamond Dallas Page. And I said, all right, we'll meet me back in Artist Alley. So he met me back there later on. But while I was there also, you know, got to meet David F. Walker, and I'll show you some things as well. Okay. Met David F. Walker, a guy that I came to truly love as a writer. He currently writes Occupy Avengers, you know, Power Man and Iron Fist, the Luke Cage series. He writes. So I took a good amount of my #1 issues and some of, if not all of it, of some of his stuff, and I had him sign it. I didn't take a picture with him because he was about to leave, but I got to him just in time so he could sign all my Shaft comics. As you can see, here's issue #1. He signed that. Issue #2. He signed 3, 4, and 5 of the first miniseries Mr. Walker did, and then he signed the next in his Shaft series, the Shaft Imitation of Life. He signed that, the first issue of that. He signed my Nighthawk #1, and I told him, I was really bummed out that this didn't last too long, because I was really enjoying it. And of course, I told, he signed my Power Man Iron Fist #1. I told him, I said to him, I said, thank you for putting one of the greatest bromances back together. And the other thing was, I wanted to get Mr. Green, the artist, to sign it, because he was right next to David Walker, but he had left. So I was like, but he was telling me about a few projects that's coming up. He's got a comic coming up. Don't want to spoil too much, but the setting will take place during early 20s Harlem, and during the Harlem Renaissance. I was like, okay, that has me interested. So he also told me about, he wanted to do more. He wants to do more Shaft. He wants to do more Shaft. And you know, it's just surprising that when he told me Dynamite, it didn't sell too well. I was like, really? Like, you know, but it is what it is. But he would love to do more Shaft. I also got to meet Mr. Greg Pak. Definitely wanted to meet Greg Pak when I heard he was going to be there, and Frank Cho. And Greg signed a lot of my stuff. Got him, Frank Cho, and Greg Pak to sign my issue #1 of Totally Awesome Hulk. You can see their signature. Frank's is right here. Mr. Pox is right there. I took a couple of I took my Eternal Warrior #1 when they gave Eternal Warrior ongoing series. Told him I love this. You know, I was like, thank you for. I love the Eternal Warrior. He's another one of my favorite Valiant characters, and he just did a great job. And I damn sure thanked him for Turok. I was like, can you sign my Turok for me? He's all happy to do that. I also took the first the Planet Hulk series. I put it back in my box over there. I should have kept it out. But yeah, he signed that for me as well. And he took the picture with everything. They both took pictures. It was they were just really two great down to earth guys. And I started asking them, you know, I asked him a few questions. I did ask Mr. Pak about you know, who came up with the idea of turning Amadeus into a Hulk? You know, who came up with that idea? And Mr. Pac, well, he said, yeah, it was kind of, he kind of thought about it and said, you know, if there's anybody who could have been a Hulk, it should have been somebody close to the Hulk. And I kind of wanted to imply, what about Rick? You know, Rick could have done it. And but other than that, yeah, Mr. Greg Pak was just really nice to me. He was just really good. And Frank, Mr. Cho was just great. He was just laid back, chilling, drinking Snapples. It was cool. I also got to meet again. I also got to meet my someone I met last year as well, in Miss Amy Chun. I got to meet Amy Chun again. I met her last year. It was great, and that year I was just thanking her for what she writes and everything. And then that's when she dropped the bomb on me that she was gonna write Red Sonja. So this time I came prepared, and I got her to sign a couple of books. She signed my issue number 1 of her Poison Ivy series, mini series. This was really good, and I did enjoy this. And I told her, you know, the writing was really good, and Clayman's artwork, who was there, I couldn't find him though. I was trying to find Clayman, and of course she signed her run of Red Sonja. I got her to sign 3. I got her to sign the 0 issue right here, if you could see that, and she signed my issue number 1, and she signed the issue number 2, which is cool. She was glad to sign issue number 1 because she was like, "Oh wow, you got the Valiant cover. This is hard to find now." So it was cool. She was laid back. She was kind of tired, but she put up. I asked her for a picture. She took it. She put up a great smiling picture. And then I saw what I didn't want to see her see. I saw her with several Red Bulls, and I kind of leaned over. I was like, "Miss Chun, get off of those. Those are not good for you." You know, I told her, I was like, "Get off of those, please." And then she started telling me about some other stuff that she's doing for Dynamite, which she likes working for. Now, I'm glad she likes working for Dynamite. Dynamite is one of my favorite indie companies, so I'm glad to see that she likes that. I also got to meet Joe Bennett, who is the writer for Lady Mechanica, and he was really cool. He told me about how he came up with the character. I'll show you what character I'm talking about. You don't know who Lady Mechanica is? This woman right here. He told me about how he came up with the character, and he signed some issues for me. He signed the collector's edition, and he also signed her next miniseries, which is the Tablet of Destinies, and she also signed her, I think, the last mini she did, where she's down in Mexico, called Lady Mechanica La Dama de la Muerte. There you go. She signed that, which was great. And I was asking him, I was like, "So, Mr. Benez, are you a fan of steampunk?" Like, I asked him, I was like, "Are you a fan of steampunk?" Like, and he's like, "No." He's like, "No, I'm not a fan of it." You know, he's like, "Not really." You know, just. So I was like, "So how'd you come up with the character?" And he told me that Lady Mechanica, he said, mainly came from watching Underworld. And that's why I even went into that. I said to him, I said, "When you was thinking of this character, were you thinking about Kate Beckinsale? Because every time I read this, I hear her voice come out." And he said, "Yeah, either Kate Beckinsale or Elizabeth Hurley." So, and we were just like, okay, and we kind of cool with it. But he was telling me, he's like, if you look at her eyes are red. She's like, originally I wanted her to be a vampire and things like that. But then he kind of was like, you know, that's kind of been done before, too much in that. So he kind of made her like more like a kind of a project. Like, is she machinery? Is she bionic or not? But keep it in that like Victorian era England setting, and it was really good. I appreciated him saying that. He didn't have to tell us all that, but he did. I was really appreciative of how he came up with this character. And the other thing I asked him was, is there any talks about having her, pretty much a crossover with any other characters, and he's like, it would have to be. He said, I got several offers to do it, but it would have to feel right, not rushed. And that was a perfect answer. I was like, perfect, because it shouldn't. A crossover should feel not just, oh, it'd be great to see these characters cross over, but it'd have to be a reason to, and it'd have to have some kind of purpose. And I liked what Mr. B said. So yeah, it was a lot of fun to meet him. I met Ed Benz. I didn't even know Ed Benz was gonna be there. I didn't know Olivia Capelli was gonna be there. Or Oliver Capelli. I saw him and I was just like, oh my god! And if I'd have known Ed Benz and those two of my favorite artists was gonna be there, I would have brought more books. I would have probably brought a lot of my JMS Thor run, where he was the artist. With Ed Benz, there's so many books I could have taken out, and I wanted to ask him when I did meet him, because he was about to leave too. I wanted to ask him. I forgot to ask him. I wanted to ask him. I was like, Mr. Benz, you are one of the guys known for having women. You know how to draw great asses on women. So where's that inspiration come from? I wanted to ask him that, but I didn't get the chance to. Because he was leaving, but he did shake my hand and everything like that. I definitely got. There was one other thing before I get to the big one, the big reveal, guys. Here we go. Yeah. I got to meet the current writer of Iron Fist, Ed Brisson, and he actually signed my issue #1. You can see it down there. And me and Malcolm was talking to him about. We even took a picture. We were talking to him about. I was talking about how I like his run. How it's gone back to the old days. During the Claremont and days of Iron Fist, where it felt more like him being more of a traditional martial artist, mixed with the superhero essence of the character. And he just told me, he's like, yeah, I grew up on old kung fu movies, and my dad is a karate instructor. I was like, okay, so he kind of had that feel already of how he wanted to portray the character. Then Malcolm asked him, have you watched the show yet? And he said, no, I'm not going to watch it until my run is almost up, because he feels if he watches it, he felt that if he watches it, it could play into how he wants his own portrayal of the character. And that was really interesting to talk to him. He was a nice guy too, just fun. He was funny. He was willing to talk to me and my brother, and it was just a lot of fun. But I told him, I was like, can you sign my Iron Fist #1 for me? And he did. He signed it for me. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun indeed. The day was just really fun. Malcolm did get to meet Diamond Dallas Page, and by that time, I really was down just waiting for a certain somebody. There were other people I wanted to meet. Meredith Finch, I wanted to meet her. I met the Finches before, but I wanted to meet her again because I wanted her to sign my Rose comic, but she wasn't there. She wasn't there, and then I was just like, okay, is she only here on a certain day? I kept going by her table. She wasn't there. Marjorie Bennett wasn't there. I wanted to meet her again. I met her before. I wanted her to sign a couple of my Batwoman books, but she wasn't there, and so I guess she was, just like Marguerite Liu. I met Marguerite Liu last year, but she was there today. But after a while, I just went back to Gail's table, and a lot of fans were there just for her. There was a woman. There were a couple of people there. One was dressed up as the Doctor. I think it was the 4th Doctor, and another was dressed up as Lady Blackhawk from her Gail's run as and for her Birds of Prey. And it was really fun. She was really cool, and her costume was perfect. It was so perfect. I was just like, wow, you look really good as Donna. And basically, we all just sat around talking about Gail and her work. There was another guy there who saw me before, and he's like, so you're a Gail Simone fan too? I was like, you damn right I am. I was like, you damn right. I was like, this is one of the main reasons I'm here, because when I heard she was going to be here, I was like, oh, hell yeah. And he was new to her work, and I was telling her, oh, he's like, what else should I read about her? I was like, I know about Birds of Prey. I was like, well, she's done a lot of crossovers for Dynamite, because she had a Red Sonja run. She did a Red Sonja Conan crossover. I was like, read her Batgirl. And I told him, I was like, and I was dead serious, because I even told Gail, I was about to tell Gail this too, but I said, no, don't say that, don't do that. But I told him, I was like, look, I respect everybody who came after Gail's predecessors who's written Batgirl, but in my opinion, nobody has ever been able to touch Gail Simone's run after she finished her run of Batgirl. Nobody who's taken up the run for Batgirl. The current writers or the previous writers. I even told Gail, and I talked to Gail a lot on Twitter. I would always tell her, like, you know what, I'm gonna give your predecessors, your successors a chance. And she even said, at least give them at least a chance. And I was like, oh, I'll give them 4 issues. If they don't capture me after 4 issues, I'm done. I'm dropping the title. And I did. I gave it 4. I didn't like the direction of the way they were doing Barbara, and I dropped it. I came back on, and they're okay, but still, I'm just like, something's still missing with the current Barbara. So, and so yeah, we waited, and about 7:15, and about maybe 7:20, there was a man came around the table. Was her husband, cheerful guy. He was he's just so cheerful. He was so cool. Piped everybody up, and then that's when I saw her come. And I saw her, and my body just went into shutdown mode. I'm not kidding you guys. Now, I know there's some people who probably gonna watch this like, dude, like, you got crazed over a comic book writer. You don't understand. And this is only comic fans of our community will understand this. I've waited over 8 years to meet her. Every time our paths would almost cross, something would come up. And it was just the biggest thing for me to meet this woman. I have friends who met her at other cons. My best friend, Blue Goblin, met her. Another friend of mine, Sly Cooper 88, met her. Another friend met her when she's out in Portland, Oregon. Met her, and they would all tell me, yeah, met Gail, and I'd be happy for them. But there's a part of me is a little jealous, like, almost like you, like, one day, and it's just back my one day. And she came, and she signed a couple of people, and then I came up. And before I even came up, I was nearly hyperventilated. My brother was a witness to me, and he's like, calm down, dude, just calm down. Chris, breathe. I'm like, okay, I'm breathing. And I'm under hot lights as it is. I got this black suit on. It's open, but still, I'm sweating now. I'm really sweating. And by the time I came up, just every feeling I had came out. Everything I wanted to say to her in person came out. Her husband came to me, and she's like, he's like, are you the Mount Vernon kid? Dudes, when I tell you that the man hyped me up, the man came and said to me, are you the Mount? So how do you say it? The Mount Vernon? I was like, yes, sir. He's like, he's like, oh my God. He's like, she's been wanting to meet you for a long time. She watches your vids, and I, that just right there, that just almost broke me down. I almost cried. And he turned to the other crowd, people online, and was like, this is the Mount Vernon Kid, a famous YouTuber. I wanted to say, well, I'm not that famous, but just the fact that he was acknowledging me, they knew who I was, that made my day. You have no idea how that made me feel. My brother was standing there right there, and that just made, I felt invincible at that moment. And at that time, I asked her, I pulled out everything I wanted her to sign, and Gail signed it. And we were just talking, and she signed my Wonder Woman Conan #1. She signed that. You can see her right there. She signed when she had her short run on Tomb Raider. She signed that. You know, I had to get her to sign her Batgirl. She signed my issue #1 of Batgirl. Thanked her a lot for that one. She signed issue #1 of Conan Red Sonja for me. You could see it right there. It's in the corner over here, right here. She also signed her final writing assignment she did for Batgirl, which was the Future End stuff. I love this story. This was really good, and she signed that for me as well. And then she signed issue #1 of probably her trippiest title, and I told her that too, which is Clean Room. I told her, I was like, this is your most trippiest series right here. And she told me how she came up with the inspiration of Clean Room. I didn't bring my crosswinds. I wanted to. I forgot that. I was like, oh my God, crosswinds. I forgot crosswind. But she told me about how, you know, she grew in Oregon and things like that. And she was telling me, you know, in Oregon is probably one of the few states that has the most highest rating in cults. And I was like, my eyes just popped open. I was like, are you serious? Like, are you serious? And she told me how that's how kind of the inspiration of Clean Room came up. Her husband then turned to me and said, you know what? He's like, pick one of these scripts, a comic script from a previous book she wrote. And I chose Crosswing #2. This is a full script of issue #2 of Crosswind, and it was cool. I should have, you know, Cat Stag was right next to her too, and I've been looking through this, and I was like, so this is how a comic script is written and how it's forward over to the artist to render. And she basically wrote, to Chris, you're the best, Gail Simone. Before I left, I hugged her. I didn't want to let go. I did not want to let go to her. I kid you not, guys. And I whispered in her ear, God bless you. And I left. And me and Malcolm just left from there. Words cannot describe, guys, how I felt about meeting Gail Simone. Over 8 years, and I finally met her. And it was everything that it lived up to be. And I'm getting misty-eyed right now, thinking about it right now. I met that woman, and now I could check her off my list of people in the industry that I wanted to meet. Chris Claremont, met him. Who else? Greg Pak, met him. Ed Benz, met him. I missed Jerry Conway. He was there. I wanted to meet Jerry Conway. But Gail Simone is definitely one of those writers that I wanted to meet, and I could check her off my list. The next thing I would love to do is hopefully someday is have a sit down conversation with her, and we're filming it, and I can film it. That would be the most interesting thing for me to do with her. But in terms of the words, I just like to tell her, because Gail, if you're listening, which I know you do, I want to thank you. Thank you for everything you've done in this industry, in the comic industry. Thank you for taking, as I told you, taking characters that would be considered B-list and making them stars, giving them a platform, a spotlight that people who are not too familiar with them and look at and say, hey, you know what? That guy was pretty good now. You know, there are people out there that probably now look at Catman a lot differently now because you touched him. And I don't mean that in a sexual way, but just the fact that you gave him a platform. Thank you for everything you've done. Thank you for everything that you will continue to do. And as I told you before, I will always be one of your loyal and probably one of your most defending loyalists to you. I will always support you in everything you do. And I can truly say, I wanted to tell you then, and I should have told you then, but you remind me of one of my aunts. She passed away, but you remind me of her, and you're just one of those, a favorite aunt of mine. And she passed away not too long ago, and you remind me of her so much. That's why sometimes I call you Auntie Gail, because I love you, Gail. I just want you to know that, and I have a lot of respect for you, and you honor me by knowing me and acknowledging me, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's here. You guys knew who I was. Like, that don't get more certified to me. To find out that somebody who is more famous than me, you know, somebody who's more recognizable, knew who I was. You know, thank you. Thank you so much, Gail, for all the good memories that you've done in your works. And I'll never forget that day. I will never forget October 5th, 2017, 7:45 p.m. when you and I met. I'll never forget that. I will remember and cherish that day for the rest of my life. For the rest of my life. Thank you. Thank you so much. So those are the final words I had to say for you, for Gail. Guys, I had a blast. I'll definitely be going next year. Probably dress up again next year. I just don't know who. You know, especially, you gotta remember, I'm the On the Geek High Lord of New York, man. So in my head, there's a lot of stuff, and I'm just like, oh, who can I be? Who should I be? You know, but other than that, like I said before, guys, you wanted to know what my little brother thought of his first Comic-Con? Well, here you go. And other than that, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. As always, this is Mom Vernon Kid. You know my slogan. Peace, one love, stay tuned, keep it real. I'll see you guys next time. Y'all take care.
Time at Comic-Con. First time here is, words really can't describe it. It was awesome. One thing I would tell for anybody that has not been to a Comic-Con, it's pretty simple. You do not have to be a hardcore, comic book reader or anime, Jay-Z, in terms of a geek, if you will, to have fun here. Mostly everybody here, I can say from my first experience, everybody here was just generous. I didn't meet any jerks, any dicks, any derogatory, word you can say. I haven't met any of it. Everybody here was just good people, and to finally do what I said I was going to do, and that was when I met DDP, I was going to give this guy a hug for all the things he's done for Jake the Snake and Scott Hall and any other wrestler person that need to get, back on their feet. I was able to do that. Meet him, meet Christian, meet DDP's wife Brenda, meet Tommy Dreamer, Tommy. Just buttloads of fun. Meet a lot of good cosplayers and just fans of every genre you can find. Hell of a time.
We really experienced it. I got to meet also, I didn't get to meet Kat, and like I said, never say never. One day me and Comic Uno Kat will meet, but I did get to meet Melina Pendulum, which was great. Such a sweet girl. I was in awe as well, but it was great to meet her.
Oh, yeah, I was able to meet Tyrone Magnus.
Yeah, and Malcolm told him about me, and but it came down to him or Gail, and Gail was more important at the time. Sorry, no offense, Tyrone, but we had a good time. As always, I got plenty of pictures, guys. Malcolm got plenty of pictures. We'll be posting them up soon, but we had a good time, guys. I'm glad I took Malcolm. This is what I wanted to take him. I'm glad he had a good time. I'm definitely be back next year. Probably next year, I'll probably dress up a little better, because here really only a few people recognize who I was.
I'm telling you, it's because the barcode couldn't be on your neck or head or whatever.
But other than that, I had the barcode that Agent 47 had, but it wouldn't stick on my skin. But other than that,
I wouldn't be surprised if you thought you was a security guy.
But other than that, yeah, we had a lot of fun, guys.
Recommend anybody to go to a Comic-Con. You will not be disappointed.